See if I can get the timing right for this stream. I never can get it perfect. But I think we're up and we're streaming. So hello, everyone. My name is Sam. I'm the creative director for Rokoko, and welcome to another Rokoko Office Hours. Today we're doing one on a Monday, and we are taking a look at the new Coil Pro Pose Stabilization filter, which we just released recently. And we have the video up on YouTube if you want to go check it out in more detail. But you know, the purpose of these office hours is just a time for us to be here and be live, and you can ask questions, and also you can evaluate the performance of these tools in real time in a environment that is seemingly always trying to break my spirit and soul because I'm sure that the live stream gods will find something to throw our way. But so far everything is looking great. So right now I am in Rokoko Studio, as you can see right here, and I've got my Coil Pro in the background. Might be blocked by the mic, but there's the Coil Pro. And so the new Pose Stabilization filter, essentially what it does is that we are now blending, or it's called sensor fusion, but we are blending the two types of data sources that are coming from my body currently. There's glove data and there is body data. Now the glove data is working with the Coil Pro in order to get the absolute position of my hands, and that's why I can do things like clap, or I can touch, you know, something on my desk, and if I go back to touch the same point later, I will touch the exact same point in digital space. The Coil Pro is tracking these hands in absolute position, which is awesome. Now our suit, which is a Smart Suit Pro 2, which is our flagship kind of mocap device. If you don't know, go to rokoko.com. But our suit is an inertial motion capture system. What that means is that it's got a bunch of sensors that are distributed throughout my suit, and those sensors know how they rotate, but they don't know where they are in space. And so, in fact, they kind of, it's difficult to get them to tell where they are in space, right? And we can tell where they are in space because we know how the human body works. We know the kinematics of our bone structure, our joints, and you know, if this bone rotates this amount, we can extrapolate out the data of our body. So the issue, however, is that we've got an absolute position tracker unit, the Coil Pro for my hands, and the body is not absolute position, but relative position. What all that means is that combining those data sources can give you artifacting and things like that. And so the new Coil Pro Pose Stabilization filter basically is blending between the IK for the hands to keep my hands touching, to give me this lovely ability to do that, but then for my body to not have shoulder issues arise, or elbow issues arise, or knee issues arise, or other things that have happened with the Coil Pro workflows in the past using the suit, which haven't been deal breakers, but have made the Coil Pro into a little bit more of a niche item, in that you need to be aware of where the coil is in things, and you need to be a little bit less cavalier, as you are in the suit without the coil. You can be very cavalier because it doesn't matter where the coil is. There is no coil, right? However, your hands will not be touching and will not be clapping, which is fine, again, because the coil is more money, and you don't need to spend more money, maybe, for your workflow. So, again, there are different options here. For the Coil Pro option, though, the point I'm trying to make is that this Pose Stabilization filter is basically making it so that we are using all the data coming into the suit, into Rokoko Studio, in a way that is not throwing artifacts, and everything is better, right? Because everything looks more natural. We're using more of the body data in order to direct the body and even some of the global positioning of the entire character. However, we still have the absolute position of the hands to do things like this while we have the same suit performance that we had without. Yeah, hey, what's going on? I cannot read your name, but hello. It's so good to see you. Of course I can. However, and you know, it's very typical that, well, here, let's see if I can go down. So I don't think I'm touching the floor precisely. Um, well, yeah, I'm getting pretty close. The thing I think to keep in mind with motion capture that we will be the first people to say, and I think is super important generally, and is a mistake I think many people make. Not that this is a mistake. There's a good reason to like do diagnostics. However, our goal is not to get you to 100%. Our goal is not. I just unplugged my suit. But our goal is not to get you to 100% because there's going to be a retargeting process that will come into play when you put the mocap onto a character. So, I think just generally, like I think that looked like pretty good when I was touching the floor just now. But there would be many instances where it won't, and that's normal. That's that's something that you live with. Like, or you spend 50K on like a Vicon system that has perfect which is also a good workflow. I think that the thing that I always try to really make people understand is that there is no best system in motion capture, and that's not like a cop out. We are not the best system. We are the best system for some people that have workflows and budgets that where we make sense, because we are a very high quality motion capture system, but we're not the highest quality, but we're also cheaper. So anyway, my point is I can touch the floor and sure, that looks okay, and that would probably also look okay without the coil, but I don't care about touching the floor because as soon as I put this on a character, even if I was touching the floor, my gorilla character that I'm putting this on has arms that are half again as long as my arms, which means that on my mocap, my hand is now going through the floor. So anytime, our goal is always to get you close to the finish line with the understanding that in a AAA project, you're always going to have to go in and do editing yourself because that's just the way that it is, like for a lot of reasons. Our goal is to get you as close as we can to the finish line that it is useful. And so without the coil, what I would say is that we kind of get you like 90% of the way there, 87% of the way there. With the coil, we're getting you like 95% of the way there, but there's still issues that you'll have to sort out in a AAA production. Anyway, we often have a problem trying to get up from the floor with our hands. Yes. Otherwise, thank you very much for the project. Of course. Yeah. We've been using it practically. Oh, that's so amazing. I mean, yeah, the Coil Pro, the Coil Pro does work with the older smart gloves, and the new update also improves Smart Gloves 1 performance with the Coil Pro. So that's worth knowing. Let's just try getting up from the ground because that doesn't surprise me. I wish I knew your name. I'm so sorry. I should put this into a Cyrillic translator or something. But one trick you could try, and I actually don't know if it will work because I'm using the Coil Pro. This might not work with the Coil Pro. Yeah. So without the Coil Pro, if you turn off locomotion, it won't give you getting up from the floor, but basically, the way Rokoko mocap works is it's all based on foot contact with the ground. So, and again, I'm sure you already know this. This is for other people who don't. But the way that Rokoko works is it's by foot contact with the ground, and you can see that my feet are sliding around, and I'm sliding around a little bit, which is typical, again, because this is a live suit. As soon as we hit process, what it's going to do is lock your feet to the ground so you don't get wiggle like that on recorded clips. So because foot contact with the ground is so important to Rokoko, things like lying down or crawling on your hands and knees, for instance, you're going to get a bunch of weird issues. So things you can do to fix that, try treadmill mode. Can I even use treadmill mode in this? Yeah, so let me try treadmill mode here. Yeah. How did that look? Let's record it. Okay, so that's treadmill mode on. And that's going to reduce the amount of errors you get. However, you're not going to be like moving in space anymore. But yeah, it just takes a lot of editing. Actually, I could turn treadmill mode off, but you can see I get a pretty good result with it on. Here, let's try with it off. And I would assume require a lot of foot contact editing, like right there, that's all wrong. Yeah, you're gonna get like weird. So you can see I'm kind of bouncing, but it looks pretty good. Okay, but yes, the point of this stream, we are here to record some mocap using the Coil Pro and the pose stabilization filter. And what that means is I'm going to be using my pistol. And so I'm just going to record a couple takes, and then we're going to bring everything into Unreal Engine, and we'll get it all retargeted onto a character and like build a little scene. And yeah, that'll be really cool. So I'll do a calibration pose. But again, you can see that I'm like get slidey stuff and things like that when it comes. Wait, am I in treadmill mode still? Oh, I am. That's why. So I'm not getting slidey stuff anymore. But I will, like, my feet are moving a little, and that will happen in live mode, right? The best results will be in recorded clips. You can use this all live. You just need to understand the limitations, and you need to test beforehand. You need to understand, hey, I can't do jumping jacks live. It's going to look weird. I can live stream, and I can be a VTuber, and I can do all these things, but there are limitations when I'm live. When to process clips, right? There's far fewer limitations. Okay, so let's record some pistol stuff. Okay, so I need to reposition myself in the room a little bit, but let's just take a peek at this. I don't like, actually I've learned that the back half of my room has really weird signal quality, so I try to stay away from the back half of my room for some reason. That's just kind of one of the things you learn. Yeah, see, pistol in my hand. Oh, that's sick. Oh, that looks so good. Okay, let's do a couple more of these just to give it a test. If anybody wants to see anything else, just let me know, and I'll try to do a recording really quick. Yeah, let's get that. Okay, so I actually want... like this, and then like this, and I'll do another calibration. Okay, let's do a little recording. Oh, TJ Data. A new and much improved vision recording solution is underway. I can't give you details, but it's very exciting. Not a suit killer, obviously. So, not a suit killer. I think a lot of people will hear news like that and they'll be like, "Oh, I don't need a suit." Ours will do nothing. I will tell you that we have a new vision solution being worked on, and it is awesome and will be really cool for Rokoko. It will not replace a suit or it wouldn't for me. It probably will for some people, maybe, but not people who should have bought a suit in the first place. If you are experimenting with other vision tools, like every once in a while, like ours will be great. And it will be awesome. Anyway, I need to play around with it more before I can say more, but I've played around with it enough to know that it's really cool and I'm really pumped for it. And the most exciting thing is thinking about integrations with these, right? Because hand and finger motion capture, and then like our face recording tools and stuff, because there's a lot that AI doesn't do well. One of which is face from like cell phones that are far away. So like recording body data, you won't get face data generally that's good, I've found, or reliable in a professional setting at least, which is the baseline I always try to measure everything against. But you also won't get hand data, which is very problematic. So if you could plug in put your gloves on and then just do a mocap recording in front of the camera, could be super cool. Anyway, okay, we're not here to talk about that. We're talking about the Coil Pro and all of its excitingness. And so, yes, let me record another couple of these. Okay, hold on. Let me try that again. Awesome. Okay. Let's try that one more time. I think I'm getting the vibe. Do another calibration pose just to make sure we're looking good here. You're really not supposed to move your coil when it's on, but I'm just lazy. So I might have to restart it. I mean, you can. It just can throw odd results. Okay, one more time. So basically kind of going for like going around a corner kind of vibe. Oh, okay. I mean, that looks good. I think so. I think we're going to call it. In the early older versions of Rokoko Studio, is a great virtual production feature. Are you planning to bring it back? Yes. So I think using the Vive trackers, I believe. And I'm going to, okay. It's hot here in San Francisco, believe it or not. So I am actually going to unplug because now we're going to get into, we did our recording. It looks good. But yes, the virtual production with the Vive trackers, it's something that's always on our mind. We just haven't had the bandwidth to attack it. Like, it's something that you can technically, still get the old version of Rokoko Studio, and I believe it works. No, I guess it doesn't work with Smart Suit 2s. But yeah, it maybe one day. I hope. There we go. Look at that. Classy. But no, I don't have like any timeline on that, unfortunately, and I don't think it'll be anytime soon because we're working on other exciting stuff. I think what the other solution that we're working on for that is independent trackers for the coil. Let me turn the coil off, actually. So we're going to have independent trackers that you can use with the coil, and they will track an absolute position throughout the coil radius, and that can be used for virtual production. Cannot tell you a timeline, partially because, I mean, I kind of know, but I don't really know. And so we want to make sure that they're working before we give out timelines, you know what I mean? And they're going to be awesome, though. I'm really psyched. Okay, so this part now, we are going to go and do some cleanup of our foot contacts. This is something I do with every single Rokoko recording I make any days. Something you should always do. I can hide the mesh here. You have to clean up your foot contacts. You have to check them out. If you are like, oh, I don't like my Rokoko data, and you're not checking those foot contacts, then you are not using the tool correctly. And you should not be surprised when you get issues, because you need to check the foot contacts. It is a necessary part of how Rokoko works. And so I'm just going through, I'm making sure that it all looks good right here. Why is this lifted? Doesn't need to be. So it takes 30 seconds and look, okay, finalize post-process, like it's great. So, yo, Winbush, what's going on, man? Been a little while. Been a while since I have been doing this, but good to see you. Winbush is up to so much. Oh my gosh, you guys got to go check out. I mean, I'm sure you know who Winbush is. Jonathan Winbush in the chat, but has some really interesting events and like stuff happening around the world. Winbush, it's crazy. And we're about to hop into Unreal, which I know is your game. Yeah, that's not quite the same thing. Oh, nice, Winbush. It's not quite the same thing. It's very true. Yeah, no, it would be. It's a combination of EMF tracking with the suit instead of optical tracking. You know, and then I think the solution would be, oh, sick, smart gloves 2. Get that coil out, baby. But yeah, what would make sense is probably to do some of that in just Unreal Engine, I guess, because you can do all the vibe tracking in Unreal Engine. But it would be nice if you could do it in Rokoko, and I hope it's something we do add. Again, it's not something we're like, no, it's something like, we have to work on the coil like filter that we've been working on, and we have to like get the smart gloves out, and it's a niche thing, so, but it's near and dear to our hearts, and hopefully there'll just be like a week where an engineer has some free time and are able to just do it somehow. I don't know. But no, not anything I can say that's coming soon. Okay, so well, this looks good. Two-hand pistol scene, call it. And guess what? I'm not going to export this. In the past, I may have exported it. But now, every single time I record Rokoko motion capture, I use smoothing filters in Rokoko Studio Preview. Now, Rokoko Studio Preview is a preview build of Rokoko Studio where we're going. Rokoko, as it is right now, the desktop program is built on top of, it's built using Unity. So it's like a game. Golly. And that is very heavy. So we're moving to an entirely browser-based system. And this is a look at where that's going. And it's going to have a lot of other functionality that basically, if we were to build that functionality into current Rokoko Studio as it stands now, it would all be a waste, because Rokoko Studio as it stands now is not a good platform to move forward on in the future, especially when we start bringing in like more AI tools or more whatever other, like we're combining other types of tools. We want to do stuff with the Vive trackers, for instance. Modifying the Unity like Rokoko Studio is a nightmare. Whereas in this new version of Rokoko Studio Preview, which gets very confusing because everyone is saying Rokoko Studio all the time and it's two different programs, but this new version allows you to do things like add smoothing and do loops. both of which will just be standard functions in the new version of Studio when we release it eventually. However, we didn't want to wait. We wanted to be able to give people the ability to use smoothing now if you can, especially because it's so much better than using it in like Unreal or whatever when you're highlighting the graphs and the keyframes and your computer freezes. Like, this is so great to use. Yeah, I think browser-based is... I think people want to do it because people spend so much time on their phone, and browser-based is usually accessible from a phone at the very least, which is cool. I think the reason we are doing it is more because it's like a mess to like do a Unity dev every time. Like it's like designing a new game every time, releasing a new game every time we like do a hotfix, Okay, but look at this. So let's take a look at what smoothing is doing at 0%. 0% smoothing. We just have the original mocap clip, which looks great. It looks good, but it is human. And honestly, many audience members are not used to seeing humans in digital content. Now, usually what our suit is being used for, and the use case that we're driving at, is for like whatever, maybe indie level game dev, indie filmmaking, or higher end filmmaking. But it's usually all digital. Or even if it's combined, it's a digital character, maybe it's a monster or something like that. For all digital, like for short films that are all Unreal Engine or all Cinema 4D or all Maya, people are not used to seeing human-like movement. They're used to seeing animated character movement, and animated characters do not shake. They do not tremble. They make very purposeful moves. They make key moves, right? They're moving between key positions, right? So they're drinking coffee. That's a key position. And then they're putting it down. But they're not, doing human-y things. So by adding smoothing, again, this is 0, but let's add 10. So this is the most smoothing. It's so much smoothing that you won't even be able to, it's like too smooth, obviously. I usually go for 6, and around 6, what you begin to see is this much more, this just, I don't know how to describe it, really. It's more high-end looking. It's more AAA. To the eye, all of our eyes who have been trained on Toy Story and Moana and whatever, even before that, hand animated, this is much more pleasing, and this is much less distracting than it is to see shaky moves that just don't look good. So this is a necessity for me every single time I record any mocap. This is definitely how you get the best out of your Rokoko. And so it's amazing. And again, this is something that I would normally do for a high-end production. If I didn't do it in Rokoko, I would be doing it in Unreal, or I would be doing it in Maya. The reason this is so great is because doing it in Unreal or Maya or Cinema 4D is a massive drain on your system and will crash your system. I mean, has crashed I only speak for myself, has crashed my system many, many times, right? Here, if I want to... So in Maya, let me describe to you what the smoothing process would be like. I would get my clip. I would select every single bone that I want smoothed, kind of manually. I would exclude maybe the fingers. So I'd select the bones. That's a pain in the ass already. Then I have to open up their graphs, animation graphs. I have to select every single keyframe that is on that graph. And let's say that is a 60 frame clip. That is now 21-ish bones that have keyframes on every one of those 60 frames. And I'm selecting every single one of those keyframes at once in order to do a Euler curve filter on them, or a Butterworth filter, which is doing what smoothing is doing. It destroys your machine. Here, I want less smoothing? Click. Oh, you can't see it. I'm blocking it. But, you want more smoothing? Click. Boop. Boop. I don't know how our engineers actually did this because, again, having used smoothing in many programs for a very long time, it's something that is always a nightmare, and it's so easy here. So anyway, it's great. Use smoothing. It's amazing. Now we are going to go and we are going to export out this clip because we got to get into Unreal Engine. I always use the default Newton. Coil. What is this? Two-hand pistol scene. Save. And let's go ahead and open up our sweet little Unreal project, which I've prepped in advance. It's not here. That means I gotta go and find it. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Unreal Engine, engage. And I bet my Rokoko has crashed for some reason, because I think I opened up Preview and Studio at the same time. Jonathan, yes. Yes, Newton is better for Unreal. I just use Newton now. Yeah, Newton default. I mean, if you're in Rokoko Studio, try to open up, but it's closing. If you go to defaults, there's like a Rokoko, there's like a Unreal native. Basically, if you're using the native export, which I did not actually understand. I was educated about this myself recently. The Newton export is your mesh. It contains your measurements. That didn't matter as much in the past. For Unreal now, it's come into play more because there's more ability to actually, it's not just FK. It will affect the retargeting in the retargeter if your character is actually the same proportion as you. And again, because in Rokoko Studio, you're putting in your proportions, it means the digital character that's exported should be those same proportions. And that should give you a better retarget in theory. Bug in Studio Preview when animations are really long. It takes yes. So yes, that's true. How many seconds is 6,000 frames? Wait, that can't be right. $200 seconds. So 600 frame, or what is this? 600 frames. 600 frames at 30 FPS would be 200 seconds, which actually isn't that long. Yeah, it's only three and a half minutes. It is a beta. I don't know. I try to keep clips low. Wait, is that right? Did I do that math right? I don't think I did. But basically, the reason that it will slow down the longer the clips get, that's something that we need to think about how to fix. It might be, I don't know. I haven't played around enough because I really try to keep my clips generally below 2 minutes. 2 minutes should be fine. It might take a second. The reason is because it's all of the data. It's the joint data. It's kind of what we just talked about. It's loading in. So yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah. So you just record multiple into a single. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I do too. Anyway. Okay. Let's go ahead and import this. So when I'm importing, and I want to always go in and make sure that under animations, this is blank. Under skeleton, I don't like to import into a skeleton unless it's premeditated and I'm doing it for a reason. So I like to just keep them separate because otherwise there could have been conflicts between the first Newton and the second Newton because who knows why. But frustrating. Okay, let's retarget animations, and I want to retarget to this character. This character looks cool. Okay, export anims. So we're not even going to, we're we're not going to export out the retargeting assets, although we could have. We should have done that too, to take a look at it. But what I'm really interested in is, again, during the process of retargeting, let's bring these guys out, play. During the process of retargeting, you can see right off the bat that the proportions of this character are slightly different than my character. They're actually quite close, so this should look quite good. Yeah, so it looks pretty good. But what's more important is that if I make a global change, basically, again, when you are working with the suit alone, like, you're getting something similar. And you're getting something that you're going to have to fix at the high end. Even this, again, like, I'm looking at this, and even if it was just Newton, like, their hands are better, but because of the retargeting, you can see that there's this issue. There's always going to be, though, some editing that you're going to want to do. It's just the way that it is. If you want high-end stuff, like, high-end digital work is just hard. There is no easy button, and so the Coil Pro is not an easy button. It does trade out more difficult problems for less difficult problems, but you still have a less difficult problem to solve. That being that you're going to get clipping no matter how good your motion capture is. Again, once you retarget, if you do mocap with $100 million soundstage that Marvel uses, as soon as you throw Mark Ruffalo's animation onto the Hulk, it all breaks. And so the mocap is not about getting it perfect. It's about making it easy. It's about making it doable for your budget. And it's about skipping over hand animation. It's not about getting a perfect take every time. It just isn't. Again, so I guess the point I'm trying to make on my big rants is that this is not perfect, but this is better than it would have been without the coil, significantly. And if I'm doing this a lot, like, this is where it really starts to pay off, because let's now make, like, this into a high-end version of this, which is, again, this looks okay, but let's actually make this look good. So how we do that? Well, we'll just block it out. Pistol to hand render, right? Throw in our guy. By the way, I love my Unreal setup right now. My window setup. I just changed it. It's so good. Look at this. I got my outliner over here. I got my details and world settings. So basically you're just taking the outliner and moving it to the other side from the default. And then I've got, I mean, this isn't an unusual thing, but it's so much more like Maya, which I don't like, but is good layout wise. Yeah, it's very nice. I like it because I normally anyway, it's very annoying normally. Okay. Add my mocap. And now, actually, no, wait, we gotta, let's just do a little more. We gotta set it up a little bit more. A cube. Forget how to bevel the edges, but okay. So cool. Sorry for the silence. Always annoying. Okay, now, let's see how this looks when it comes to editing this. Okay, because we have this issue here where the hands are not in the right zone. And so what I'm going to do is just go to plus, control rig, layered, and we're going to use an FK control rig and just make this a little bit better. And again, I would, if this is for a final, I would be doing more. This is I want to get a good block out of this. Let me see what I can do. So one thing I'm just doing, I find that with most characters, raising up the arms is a good thing and might fix some issues right off the bat. Let's see the hands now. Yeah, see, that was it's one of the first things. Now, I think what I would do is maybe I would make this one. Oh man, here's another. This is one of my big time tips. This is my biggest time tip. Oh my God, Windbush, if you don't know about this, you're about to lose your mind. Yeah, IK goals, exactly. I would use IK goals and I would do a more advanced setup, right? And all of that. I think, yeah, I mean, but I don't want to do that. And I want to get a good result quickly to show off. And I think, again, it's all, you don't need a coil. But you also don't need a suit. You can kind of start playing that game. And so it's just about what's more useful to you. Because my point being is you can use IK goals without the coil at all, and you can kind of get the same result. It will just be a little bit more work, maybe, although maybe not. Yeah, it depends on the use case, and there's so many different ways to do things. I use a 42-inch 16:9 monitor that I just upgraded, which is a lot larger. This old system did not used to work with my old monitor, but it works now. It probably looks kind of small on, yeah, the text probably looks tiny. Okay, yeah, but yeah, what do I want to do? So I'm just gonna make one more. Oh yeah, I was showing you the best tip ever. Yes, Windbush, or any Cinema 4D user. The best thing about Cinema 4D is the way that you manipulate the gizmos, in my opinion, which is how you rotate objects and stuff. There's this, you can actually, once the object is selected and you have rotate selected in Cinema 4D, you select anywhere on the screen and drag and it will rotate the object, which is amazing. You don't need to be on these things. But in Unreal, you don't even have the ball around the object unless you go to editor preference. And I've been trying to figure out how to turn this on for every single project by default, but you have to do weird stuff, and turn on arc ball rotate. And once you turn on arc ball rotate, baby, wait, what? I can't turn it on. What the heck? Oh, I think Unreal's being weird. Hold on, let me try that again. Because I need my arc ball rotate. And now, I don't have to select one of these stupid things. I can just select the middle, and I can drag it in any direction I want, which is much nicer. Okay. So there we go. So now it looks like, okay, so I created a few more issues. So maybe we'll undo this. And so I guess this is this character model. So I mean, this is just a whole other issue. Get the neck. Whoa. Man, this thing is so weird. Sometimes Unreal is just, it loves to do this sometimes. It's like amazing. Isn't that so fun? Why is it? Arc ball's gone? Man, Unreal. Unreal is unreal. I hate it when it does this sort of thing. I don't know if this happens for other people. Okay, wait. Okay, this neck one is crazy. This is the issue. Yo, bro. Ugh. Yeah, anyway. Wanted to do something simple. There, yeah, looks pretty sick. I think also, like, the point... Oh, I do need to just put a little camera in. You go, sick. Yeah, the arc ball thing is amazing, although what happened to it? It disappeared. Normally it's like never an issue. Yeah, I want it to appear in viewport, bro. There we go. Okay, well, let's just, we gotta put in like a little, we gotta do a little thing here. You know, put in a little camera. Okay, boom. Now we're going to do some transform. And maybe we'll turn on our auto keyer. Okay, sorry about the silence. Cool. Why not just apply the default IK control rig from the UE5 skeleton to the character? Yes, I could try that. But I am not, because that would require me to make this into a real thing. I mean, yeah. I can. There's a lot of different things that you can do with this. Like, right, this is just a basic way to do this. Like, the proper way to do this, right, would of course be to like go retarget anims, like throw it on this. Is this still copied? No. Copy this. Do this. Export retarget assets into the mocap. Go into the retargeter. Offset, and like start doing some real work, which we could do. And like run the IK rig. We could run. Oh man, there's so many good new interesting things that have been developed. But there's also reasons that I might not want to do this, or I might want to run. Yeah, it depends. This is like a whole other thing, obviously, that is I'm not gonna get into because it'll be a nightmare. But you can see, yeah, there's lots of interesting things that we can do. Scaling the source, for instance, is one of the new really cool op stack things. Look at this. You can see this is all jacked up. Yeah, I'm not going to get into this because obviously this is advanced stuff that I barely know, and I've already forgotten. Mostly, I mean, this is, go watch our tutorials on this back when I understood it better. But yeah, I mean, the op stack there's so much. It used to be that Maya was really the only real mocap processing program, in my opinion, and it still is to a certain degree, in that in Maya there is no foot sliding at all through a combination of their background tech and their foreground tech, screen space combinations and hip pelvis measurements. But basically you never get any sliding. Even if you were to take a Rokoko clip that had sliding in it, which we can have, and you were to retarget that like onto another version of the same character, but you did it in Maya, it would be like fixed, because they're doing a bunch of really cool stuff in Maya. What was my point? Why did I start talking about that? Oh yeah, just that Unreal is now amazing, and you can do many of the things that Unreal used to be not good at, and Maya was the only one, or like iClone, which is great still at this stuff specifically, better than Unreal. But Unreal is now amazing. It just is intense, and it can be a little intense to walk through, to figure out for the first time. But it's not that bad. Okay, let me take a little camera shake, and then we're going to call it, because I just want to see this look cool. So I make my camera shake timing 0, which means it will not stop. The location amplifier, I'm going to make 0.2, but rotation, I like 0.3, compile, save. Let's add our camera shake. Looks cool. Oh. I mean, Cascador. Cascador is awesome. Love Cascador, except I don't use it. And Unfortunately, I think it's really great. We've done a bunch of work with them in the past, and they are coming up with like lots of new exciting things too. Um, I think the thing about it is kind of like Embergen, that you can't really use it that casually, and it's great, but I think it requires a level of deep dive into it to begin to use it correctly that most people turns a lot of people off when they already are using Blender, or they're already using Unreal Engine or whatever, or they're already using Rokoko, and then they're going to take their mocap into Cascador. In terms of, again, I think if you were to specialize in animation and hand keying, Cascador is great. It's just intense, I think is what I'll say. But their AI mocaps is looking really good. And again, I think like oftentimes one thing that we come up against at Rokoko is there will be something like Cascador or whatever, Move.ai, any product that is going to make your life easier and fix things and make it all easy. And the truth is that just does not exist in my experience as someone who has constantly looked for it. It does not exist. Good art is difficult to make. Doesn't matter the program. So I think is Cascador great? Yeah, it's as great as literally any of the other programs in that the only thing to be aware of is that, like many of the other programs, you get very excited and then you hit this wall of it being difficult, more difficult than you thought, at which point you give up. And so going into it, I think it's just like you don't want to go into a program like Cascador excited. You kind of want to go in being like, okay, I'm going to learn this new program from the ground up. I'm not going to make anything cool for like a month. As opposed to like, okay, this looks sick. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to have something cool I'm going to put on Instagram tonight. And then you're like, this is so hard to use. And it's not so hard to use. It's just the first time you used a program. It's hard to make good stuff. Yeah, no, I think it's good at cleaning mocap data. I think it's great at doing all that stuff. And I've talked a bunch with the Cascador guys. And so to watch them do things is like amazing. And it's very impressive. I think though that again, it's just like, it takes a little bit of inside baseball knowledge in order to use it well. And, yeah, it's a lot. I think the way I would try to use Cascador if I was going to use it is I would be like, there's some things that are really difficult to do that Cascador I think does a little bit easier, like ragdolling. They added up some really good ragdoll physics. And so like if I had a Cascador template project that I just basically had set up, and it had like a ball in it that I can move, I would just feed any mocap in where I needed a ragdoll and then ragdoll it in Cascador and export out the animation. And I would have like that one setup to achieve that one goal, and that would feel manageable, I think, and I would see like immediate utility, and then I would like dive more into the tools. But yeah, I think it's different for everyone. It's certainly awesome. I don't know, but everything in CG is annoying and difficult. as you all know. I know you all know that it's that nothing is easy. But you got to keep yourself going, and then you make awesome stuff and you get all jazzed. And I think that the thing is just like going in and being too excited. That's just something I'll just say for myself. I do all the time. I go in, I get too excited, and then I lose motivation. And like, so you just got to, be like, it'll be good, but it's a tool. It's not going to be easy. Yeah. Everything is mesh dependent, but Jet the Brett, what you could do is always retarget. See, like what I would do is I would get the mesh from Cascador, the default mesh, like with the kitty cat ears or whatever they use for their basic mesh. I would get that. And then I would bring that into Rokoko Studio. I would retarget onto that mesh in Rokoko Studio, straight out of Rokoko Studio. I would export that to Cascador, where I would do that. And so it would be the same mesh every time, and it should just work into the project. But yeah, you would have to redo, I guess, the environment mesh, you know, if it was getting hit by a car versus getting hit by a bullet. Yeah, it's just tough. It's just tough to do things well. It's just tough. But that is okay. You know what I mean? It's okay. You just got to know about it before we get into it. Okay, well, that's pretty much all we're going to do. You know, we jumped in, played around with the Coil Pro pose stabilization filter. I could say more so than anything, what is was most impressive about playing around with this all the time and stuff is that, let me just do that, is that it's not so much that, I mean, it's awesome. I get the Coil Pro benefits, and I get no wonkiness. And again, the Coil Pro without the pose stabilization filter worked great, and I've seen a bunch of amazing workflows from musicians and artists and stuff who again are a little bit more niche and a little bit more in control of their environment and what they're creating. But what if you moved around a lot, what you would have to work around a little bit is some of these artifacts, and like there's no artifacts here. This all just looks great. My hands are in the right spot, and there's retargeting issues that are standard, but still better input mocap, so everything looks better. Another quick question. Yeah. No bad blood, Yuko, and frankly, I don't, I'm not as, I'm a little disconnected from all that stuff, but yeah, it's awesome. Have you guys tried capturing running on the treadmill? So I have tried it once, and yeah, with the Coil it would be a nightmare. I would never try it with the Coil. I would think that you would be able to get okay data, but not like long term. I would be aiming for like spurts of like 4 or 5 runs. Also, if you haven't tried in a while, you know, I think what might have more impact is like we added this new engine. The new locomotion engine really has made a difference. And then just making sure that you're going to have to edit the hell out of those foot contacts, which is just the way that it is. I would imagine, but I've gone on there to do walk cycles and it's worked fine. But you know, so much could depend on the type of treadmill and the environment. You know, you just got to test stuff. You know. Well, you know, beyond messing with the lighting here and everything, look, I can still access all my stuff. Here we go. It's about to get real. And then look. Oh, this one was right in the middle of him. Hold on. Okay, and then we're leaving. Ah. Oh, it's a backlight. Okay. So we do like this backlight. I love a backlight. Backlight is maybe my favorite thing in the world. Hold on. Let's pause it. What's going on here? Oh, this is a what the? Oh, it's a rec light. Whoa, what the heck? Okay, that's not good. So what we need to have a backlight. So I like a spotlight personally. Boom. .01. Source 40. Soften up that shadow, and of course make it blue. Gotta split color it. There's way too much light here though. Yeah, we gotta make this way tinier. So bad. Yeah, get rid of that. Let's get another spotlight up in here. With way more power. Make it red, obviously. You know, it's pretty sick with just the backlight, actually, as is so often the case. Oh, also, what is going on here with my post-process volume? Post-process volume. My exposure should be 1. There we go. Now we can make good stuff. You know what we need? Exponential fog volume. Volumetric fog. More. Ooh. At 1. That's more fog than I've ever used. Looks sick though. Yeah, so this looks great. I mean, maybe it doesn't look great, but I like it. Okay, well, we're going to leave it there, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. This was a blast, and we're going to be trying to do more of these live streams as we keep going. And yeah, we got a lot of new updates coming, new AI stuff coming, just more exciting, fun tools. So thank you. Good to see y'all. Tune in, not next week, but I think in 2 weeks we'll be doing it again. And yeah, we'll see ya. See you, Jet. See you, Yuko. See ya, Cyrillic name, with very good questions. Hopefully things are good. Okay, see you guys. Have a good weekend. Bye. Or no, it's Monday. Have a good week.